But you don't care when Hillary Clinton says that black people are super predators?
She did say that, and that was a slip-up. That was a very...
Oh, so it's a slip-up when Hillary does it?
No, it was... I think her actions speak louder than her words. All of her work with the Children's Defense Fund, I think her actions speak much higher than...
You know that she defended a child rapist?
She defended a man
who raped a child.
That evidently wasn't... Did he rape it? Was
yes.
He convicted? So there you go. But everybody in our country is able to have a defense.
You're an idiot!
So you support that, defending rapists?
I support everyone having their day in court.
So what about Hillary Clinton getting a day in court?
She was exonerated. They spent millions of dollars investigating her and came up with nothing.
Well, we'll find out, I think, with more time to come. But let me just ask you this, okay? Let's say that Donald Trump isn't a liar. Let's say that all the things the media said about him. See, you're closed-minded, ma'am. Why can't you be open-minded to that? Why can't you give Donald Trump a chance?
Because he's proven. Take Bannon. What is he having Bannon being the...
What's wrong with Bannon?
Where do I start?
You can start anywhere you want.
Breitbart.
What's wrong with Breitbart? Very credible news source.
All right, the interview's done because you and I are not. That if you call that a credible...
What have they reported on that's not true?
I'm out of here. How about his security guy leaks false reports about a pizza place?
I'm sorry, what false reports?
That Hillary Clinton was holding a child...
That was never said.
You know what? If you put this on...
We'll put the whole thing.
No, I don't want you to. I'm giving...
Why not?
Permission. Because
Because you just tried to say things with no proof?
It just came out.
What came out, ma'am? Have you looked into what they're talking about? Do you even know what it is?
The security guy.
Okay, what is it that he tweeted about that's not true? So General Flynn's son tweets about, do you know what? Hashtag Pizzagate. Have you looked into it?
Yes, I have, and so have...
So what did you find?
He tweeted it also.
So what did you find?
What
did you find?
One of our finest citizens here went and shot up the place.
No, that didn't happen. That's a lie.
I will sue you, and I will, if you put this...
For what?
Because it's shame.
You consented to the interview. No, the sad thing is, ma'am, here's the thing. I want to have... That's fine. All right, so here's the thing. I tried to have a conversation with this woman. I tried to hear her point of view. I'm open-minded. Tell me how Trump's bad, and she provided nothing.
How can you say it's a lie? They just kicked...
What's a lie? What are you talking about?
They tweeted a false report.
What false report? What was false? See, you can't say it, ma'am. What? So again, I'm just asking questions, and this is what happens when people who hate Trump try to answer them. They stutter around and they have nothing to say. I was open-minded. I tried to have a conversation with her. She threatens to sue me. She just says I'm discredited, and she wants some more, apparently.
How do you look at yourself in the mirror?
With my two eyes.
I think that protests and strikes historically have been a way to show the impact that people have on certain workplaces and certain environments by being absent and by showing, if you're not going to value me as much as you should, if you're not going to pay me equally, if you're not going to, protect me from sexual harassment in the workplace, if you're not going to offer me paid leave, this is what it would be like if I did not participate in this economy in general. And sometimes the greatest way to show impact is to show absence. And I think that this is actually more effective than you're giving it credit for. And, strikes historically have been enormously effective in showing the value of the people who are striking.
Yeah, some have, some haven't, but the ones that have a very specific set of demands tend to succeed, and the ones that are amorphous tend not to succeed. So I went on the website, Day Without a Woman, to try and figure out what this is about, and one of the things I learned is that you're supposed to avoid shopping except at women and minority-owned businesses. In other words, if the business is owned by a white man, you can't shop there. You shouldn't shop there. Why the hostility toward white men? What do they have to? Why white men exactly?
Well, I don't think that it's necessarily hostility towards white men. I think it's more about being supportive towards women and towards minorities who are historically disenfranchised in this country, who are paid less, who are not treated as well in the workforce, who don't have stability in the workforce. So I don't think that this is about punishing white men. I think that it is about supporting women and people of color.
Well, sure. If you're boycotting white men, it's obviously an attack on white men, but that's not true, actually. So if you look at household median income, the top 3 slots are not white men. They're all people of color. I think the number 1 is Indians, and number 2 is Taiwanese, and the third is, I think, Filipino. So actually, white men are not making the most money in this country. I don't know if you've checked the numbers. So it's a little bit weird to say boycott white businesses, white male-owned businesses, when they're not the most successful. What is that about?
You know, I think that if you were to look at the statistics, it is largely white men that are positions of power as far as CEOs, as far as people in, you know, power at various businesses, as far as people who hold the majority of leadership positions, who hold the majority of CEO positions for Fortune 500 companies. So, you know, traditionally and historically and factually today, white men are in better positions when it comes to, you know, workplace equality than.
But that's not actually true. I mean, historically, yeah, I think that's right. But I mean, if you want to speak historically, so the Department of Labor ranks this by ethnicity, and historically it was a country settled by British settlers. So if you run down the list, British Americans, English Americans, are number 41 for income. I'm not saying, you know, white people aren't successful. They are, but it's much more complicated than that. And so why not acknowledge that, I guess?
I think that we're kind of getting off of the point here, Tucker. I think that the point of today is about women's equality, and if we're talking about if we're talking about where women stand in today's economy, the U.S. is 28th best as far as gender equality goes in the world. They're 60th best as far as gender empowerment goes for women in the world. So, you know, maybe I can appeal to your patriotism on this point. I don't want the U.S. to be 60th best in anything, or 28th best in anything.
Well,
I want us to be the best at this.
It depends what the measurements are. I mean, come on.
Well, anything depends what the measurements are. These are from the World Economic Forum, is the statistics that I'm stating.
But I mean, what does that even mean? But I'll throw one out for you that I think is interesting. So for younger women entering the workplace, there was a recent survey done in the 150 biggest cities in the United States, and in 148 of them, young women in their 20s entering the workforce made more than their peers, their male peers. So things are changing. I mean, boys graduate from high school at lower rates, from college at lower rates, and young men, unmarried, childless young men, make less in cities than comparable women. So
I hit downtown Manhattan this week for street justice and found a lot of young college students. All I wanted to know was what was going on in America with all these protests. But as sometimes happens, I got more than I bargained for. What's going on in the world? Why is everybody protesting?
Our rights are at stake.
What rights particularly?
Freedom of speech.
Do you feel safe?
Yes.
Why?
Because I love Donald Trump. Sorry, everybody.
Okay, and what about all the protesters?
They're right. Good for them.
Why are they protesting?
I think they're bored. They're not working.
What's going on in the world? You feel safe?
I don't feel safe, but I don't necessarily think that people should not be able to express themselves.
At Berkeley, they just tried to shut down the guy named Milo from speaking.
People are allowed to protest. And the guy who was speaking, he stands for a lot of things that people don't agree with.
Isn't that a violation of his First Amendment right of free speech?
In many ways it is.
In all ways it is.
I think it makes sense that people are upset. I don't think it's okay to incite violence. I don't.
It's against the law, trust me.
It is, trust me.
I prosecuted that stuff.
Yeah, it is against the law. I think it's also, it becomes very difficult when the people in power are telling us things that aren't factually accurate.
Should they express themselves the way they did at Berkeley or at the airports where they stopped traffic?
Yes, I feel like protesting with stopping traffic like that is the real message to really impact people and get it across.
So in your mind, it has to be disruption and possibly, you know, the burning of buildings as that you see and the disruption of traffic? That's what you're saying? That could be okay?
Not necessarily the burning of buildings, but disruption of traffic I'm not necessarily against.
A couple of years ago, I went back home and I had a long beer and I was stopped at the airport. Well, not really stopped.
All right, you were stopped. You were questioned. Did they let you through?
They did.
Okay, let's get over it. What now?
I don't know.
You good?
I'm good.
Yeah? All right. Do you believe that what happened at UC Berkeley was acceptable?
I believe that this man is a white supremacist.
No, we're talking about, no, we're talking about Milo. No, I'm talking about UC Berkeley. So if Milo was asked to speak at UC Berkeley, doesn't he have the right to go there and speak?
right-wing people do not have the right to spew hatred and bigotry in this country.
So let's pull it back. Okay, so he was invited, but you're saying that because you see him as right-wing,
He is right-wing.
Wait, because you see him as right-wing, no, because you see him as right-wing. Wait a minute. Oh my God. Can we have a civil conversation?
You want to call me uncivil? Because
No, I didn't call you anything.
Trump, these white people that think that they get to say
tolerance. I thought you were
tolerance of what? I'm not a liberal. Do you know me?
Do you know the First Amendment?
No.
There's no First
The
Amendment.
First Amendment protects people from bigotry and hatred.
The First Amendment protects free speech.
Disagree. Nobody has the right to speak. If you disagree,
Your views are hatred.
nobody. You don't know my views.
Your
You don't
views
know my
are
views.
calling on
You don't know my
violence
views.
for us.
No, this is a free
want
country. First Amendment
So
rule.
your
Okay.
First Amendment is
Free
banning
press.
Muslims.
I think we need the peace for all the world.
First
Peace.
Amendment, honey.
We need-
First Amendment. Go back
we need
to the Constitution.
the
Honey,
peace.
First
Okay,
Amendment.
we need peace. All right, let me. No, stop! It's my camera. All right, wait a minute. The First Amendment protects free speech. I'm not a honey. I'm a judge, sweetheart. So stop.
My First Amendment
I'm
protects
done.
me from bigotry,
Overruled.
and discrimination.
You know what? You don't know what
It's
free speech is.
discrimination.
Oh my
You wanna
God.
make like this?
You know what? If this is what our college is doing, don't pay tuition anymore. What is going on campuses? Did we suddenly lose the First Amendment free speech right?
To be honest, I don't know what's going on with campuses. I graduated.
What the hell are you doing here?
Going on a nice stroll. It's a beautiful day outside.
Did you see all the lunacy going on? And on campuses, we're seeing safe zones. I mean, what is going on?
It's terrible. Wow.
So that's what you wanted to talk about?
I just want to say I hope everybody has a beautiful day. It's gorgeous outside.
Are you high?
No.